Jorge Martin just set the fastest speed in the history of MotoGP. And it didn't matter. The rider who beat him in the Mugello sprint today is the same rider who put him on the floor in Barcelona 2 weeks ago. The crash that turned a 1-point gap into a 15-point hole. Raul Fernandez. No penalty then. A sprint win now. And Martin, the man Aprilia keeps calling its title contender, finishing behind him all over again. Everyone is talking about the speed record. Almost nobody is asking the harder question. Is Jorge Martin's biggest threat really his championship rival, or is it the bike parked in the garage right next to his? 3 weeks ago, this was the best story in the championship. Martin won the sprint and the Grand Prix at Le Mans, his first Sunday win in 588 days, and pulled to within a single point of Marco Bezzecchi. A rider who had spent a year and a half broken and absent was suddenly in a title fight nobody thought he would be part of. Then Barcelona happened, and the way it happened is the part that should frighten him, because the damage didn't come from Ducati, and it didn't come from a returning Marc Marquez. It came from inside his own manufacturer. That is the thread nobody pulls hard enough. So let's pull it. Start with Barcelona, because the headline version is wrong. Most people remember one crash. Martin actually went down 6 times in 4 days, 4 in practice and qualifying, 1 in the race, and 1 more at the Monday test. This wasn't a single bad moment. It was a weekend where he lost the front again and again, and by his own admission, he arrived at Mugello braking like a man waiting to fall. The crash that mattered, though, was the one in the race. Final restart, opening lap, turn 5. Fernandez, on a Trackhouse Aprilia, the satellite team, not the factory, dived down the inside and the two collided. Martin hit the ground. His title charge hit the ground with it. The stewards reviewed the incident and walked away from it. No further action. Martin did not walk away calm. He came back into the Aprilia garage furious, and the cameras caught Aprilia CEO Massimo Rivola marching down to the Trackhouse box to confront their boss, Davide Brivio, face to face. 2 arms of the same manufacturer squaring up in the pit lane over an incident the stewards had already closed. And here is the first thing that doesn't add up. If everyone agrees it was just a racing incident, why was the factory boss that angry? Because Rivola already knew something the standings hadn't shown yet. Here is what he knew. Just weeks earlier, at Le Mans, Rivola had laid down what he called a simple rule for his 2 title contenders. Bezzecchi and Martin, he said, simply had to respect each other. If they didn't, he would step in himself. A clean, sensible plan to stop 2 teammates from wiping each other out of a championship. Now look at that rule again. It covers Bezzecchi and Martin. The factory pair, it says nothing about Raul Fernandez. And that is the exact crack this whole season is falling through. Because, and this is the part that got buried under the speed record, Aprilia only sat the Trackhouse riders down after Barcelona. Team manager Paolo Bonora admitted it openly on Friday. The meeting to calm everything down, to agree on being more careful when points are on the line, happened in the aftermath, once the damage was already done, which means that before Barcelona, the satellite team sat outside it. The respect rule built to protect Martin's title never extended to the one rider who actually took it away from him. And it gets worse, because this was not even the first time. Bonora let slip that something almost identical had happened between the two of them the day before, on the Saturday. So Martin's explosion in the garage wasn't one crash boiling over. According to his own team boss, Martin kept repeating the same words. It happened another time. He had seen it coming. He had already been here 24 hours earlier. And Fernandez, he has never once taken the blame. He insists Aprilia's own telemetry backs his version, that he braked later than every other Aprilia all weekend and had the pass completed. His account is blunt. The moment Martin saw it was him, Martin made the same as yesterday, released the brake and turned back into the corner. In plain terms, Fernandez is accusing Martin of slamming the door on a move that was already done. The same move 2 days in a row. So now, You have two riders on the same machine telling completely opposite stories, with telemetry waved around like a weapon between them. Behind all of it sits a factory that handed its championship hopeful a protection plan, with his most dangerous opponent left off the list. Now step back and look at the shape of Martin's whole season, because the pattern is the real story here. Every single time Jorge Martin has built momentum in 2026, something inside Aprilia has taken it back off him. Le Mans gave him a 1-point deficit. Barcelona, through a Trackhouse rider, blew that out to 15. And today, on the weekend, he was meant to reset everything. That same Trackhouse rider beat him to the flag, and he could only scrape 3 points back. 12 down now, to a teammate, on the best bike on the grid. And the rival he is chasing isn't slowing down. Bezzecchi took pole at his own home race today with a brand new Mugello lap record. People think the 2026 title fight is Martin versus Bezzecchi. It is not. It is Martin versus the entire structure he races for, a manufacturer so fast that its third and fourth best riders can decide his championship, and so unwilling to control them that it only acts after they have already cost him. And remember where Martin was 12 months ago. He went to Aprilia privately and tried to trigger an exit clause to leave this team. They blocked it. He stayed. The same team he tried to walk away from is now the one thing standing between him and a second world title. Not because the bike is slow, but because the bike is everywhere, and not all of it is racing for him. So what actually happened at Mugello? On paper, a recovery. A top speed no rider in the history of this sport has ever hit. A podium after the worst weekend of his entire comeback. If you only watch the timing screens, Jorge Martin had himself a good Saturday. But the timing screens are lying to you. The fastest speed in MotoGP history is worth nothing when the man who took you down in Barcelona is standing on the step above you as the points get handed out. Martin didn't close the gap today in any way that counts. He watched the rider who already cost him 15 points pour salt into the wound. No penalty, no apology, and still no sign that his own factory will ever genuinely pick a side. That is not a comeback. That is a warning. Aprilia built the fastest motorcycle on the planet and then forgot to decide whose championship it was actually racing for. And until they make that call, Jorge Martin is not fighting one rider for this title. He is fighting his own garage. And right now, his own garage is winning. So, Martin's biggest threat, his title rival or the bike right next door? After Mugello, I don't think it's close anymore. Do you? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.